My second guest tonight, as I mentioned before, is me, Dick Cavett, co-author of a book called CAVETT. I have foolishly agreed to be interviewed by three writers of note, and the three writers of note are sitting near me now. Anthony Burgess has published 30 books, including A Clockwork Orange and his most recent one, Napoleon Symphony. He is one of those exceptional people that talk show hosts give thanks for, an author who talks as entertainingly as he writes. Barbara Hauer, whose book about the intertwinings of power and sex and society in Washington, D.C. and her own life and the role she played therein, Laughing All the Way, stayed on the bestseller list for 14 weeks. She's working on a new novel, a work of fiction this time, but all kinds of people are worried that they're going to be recognizable in it. Rumor has it that she has gotten a six-figure advance from her publisher. If you read her book, you know that when she isn't getting advances, she's making them. Little joke, Barbara. Jerzy Kosinski has written, seriously, folks, 4 novels, including The Painted Bird and his latest, The Devil Tree. He won the National Book Award in 1969, and it's always a little painful to admit that someone can write that brilliantly in English when it isn't his native language. He, too, is a dazzling conversationalist, storyteller, remembered for 2 stories he told on this show, one about a uniform and one involving Eskimos, but we won't go into those now. I'm a little worried about a quote I ran across somewhere. Anthony, maybe you can identify it for me. Let mine enemy but write a book, or some words to that effect. In other words, people really get at you when you've written.
It's in the Bible somewhere. It's in the...
Could it be Job?
I think it's a book of Ecclesiastes, isn't it? Oh, that mine enemy had written a book.
Had written a book.
Yeah, that's right.
Really? Yeah. I didn't realize it was that old, but...
No, it's pretty old, but it's true. Anyway, about your book, congratulations and welcome to the ranks of authors. It's your first book. Is it going to be your last book?
I don't know. Shouldn't that be up to others to decide, or how do you decide?
No, that's the point. That I like this book very much. It's a book about you, but I'm speaking for myself only, can't write about myself. I can only invent people. Of course, I pour something of myself into these invented characters, but I'd be extremely embarrassed to have to write a book about myself. And I admired that for a start, the fact that you were able to be candid about yourself, to be exposed to a very large, much larger public indeed, than the public you're exposed to normally here on television, because this is a public that runs through time, you know what I mean? You're exposed for a brief segment of time here, but now you're exposed for time that goes, what I believe is called diachronic time. This is synchronic time. You're going to be exposed to diachronic time, time running through. This book will be in libraries, this book will be there. Even if the book disappears, the book will have been written and will suddenly reappear.
That's a frightening thought. I'm going to try to withdraw the thing right now.
But it's true. It's the first thing one has to worry about. One has committed something to posterity.
And someone can go back and reread it. Whereas on television, you make a fool of yourself, you say, I'm so sorry, and it's gone. Whereas in a book, it's always there.
That's right. Does that worry you, Jerzy? When you've written, do you think they're going to read it through the ages? And
No, that doesn't worry me. What worries me is that you can't withdraw the book while you're still alive.
Right.
Not the ages, but in your case, it's too late now. With the show, you don't have to show the tape again. But with this, this will haunt you in a sense that you cannot go to every library and say, don't show it to anyone. I mean, that is real, in a way. It
this
remains
is becoming
there.
a very unpleasant experience.
That has happened, Dick. You know, George Orwell, a British writer, I think a very good British writer, too, Animal Farm, 1984 and so forth. He wrote a book called A Clergyman's Daughter, and he regretted having published it, and he spent a great deal of his life, to my knowledge, going round bookshops all over London and in the provinces, too, looking for copies of this book so he could buy them up and then burn them.
Really?
Of course, he could, when he died, the whole thing was outside his control, and the thing is there in paperback now. But
did his going around buying them put him on the bestseller list and create a greater demand for the book?
He just regretted having written the book, and I can well understand this. I regret myself having written certain books.
But I also think that if you really think about being a host of a talk show, you have an ideal situation in a way. Now you have the fame, which is in a way reinforced from week to week.
Yeah.
Once in a while, from day to day, month to month. You reach the bedrooms, so to speak, of your audience. So you have the fame.
Yeah.
You are well paid. You have the audience which is waiting for you there, no matter what. They are there, and they don't, in a state of expectation. They don't know what is going to be on the show. They may know the names of those of us who appear on it, but they don't, unlike in a film, where they could have learned about the film from the reviews from other people, it's always the state of expectation. You are the star of your own 2-hour film every night. You select your supporting staff, supporting actors. It's an ideal situation in a way. This is something which is of an entirely different caliber. Here you reveal something which is where you take enormous chance. You cannot, as I said, modify it. With the show you can, from week to week, from week to week. You can change the image. You can bring different guests. You mentioned before that your guests numbered from 4,000 to 5,000, and indeed, they are all extremely prominent people, charismatic figures. They add to your charisma. This, I find, an extremely honest book, in a way that many things in the book are things we would not suspect about you, and that is very brave about it.
Well, see, that's the thing that's startling. When you write a thing, you have no idea what it is that people think you are, to begin with, and then you have no idea what it is they'll be surprised at about you what surprised you? I mean, it seems to me that I am myself here, and people who've had a look at that have said, gee, I really didn't know you. Or other people say that.
I think almost everything about it. Since one assumes that one knows the man who is in one's bedroom so often.
Well, that certainly blows the myth that they tell.
Sure blows many myths, doesn't
Exactly.
No, let me say a little about something that surprised me and pleased me, and that I never realized before, and I've been watching your show ever since it began, off and on.
Gee.
I never realized how seriously you took this whole business. You're relaxed, the whole atmosphere is informal, and of course this is the aim, it's the art to conceal art. It looks like an informal talk show. In fact, your approach to the whole business is highly professional, and this came out not only in the description of the way you work and the immense tensions you undergo before you appear on the show. For instance, you don't know this, ladies and gentlemen, but he has to go, may I use this word? No, he has to micturate or urinate before he goes on, and again he has to do it, and this is true, it's down there.
Well, I know it's down there, but to say it on television...
Here is the interesting thing. You're very concerned about what I used to be concerned about, and still am in a sense, about the whole mystery of the comic entertainer. You have heroes like Groucho Marx.
Yes.
And a very great hero of mine, too, a fellow countryman, a fellow Lancastrian, Stan Laurel. I was very, very moved by the tributes you paid to Stan Laurel in your book. You rightly said that Chaplin and he came over on the same boat from England to America. Chaplin never acknowledges the existence of Laurel in his autobiography.
That's right. In 400 pages, there wasn't room to mention Laurel.
But this is the sort of thing I mean. You are interested in these people. You're fascinated by their techniques, by the way they work. And I thought a great deal. I won't speak my thoughts loud for the moment. I thought a great deal about the summations you made about the whole art of comic entertainment in that book. This was highly professional.
It's also, you were talking about two different kinds of writing here.
Barbara, forgive me. We brought you here to talk, but not incessantly. I'm kidding. We have a commercial. That's why I'm interrupting you. We'll be right back. Stay where you are.